There it is.
There we go.
We're live.
Hey, world.
Hey, everybody. I'm Charles.
And I'm Alvin.
And welcome to Tit for Tat, This and That. We're back. So hopefully you guys caught our last video. We made dinner. This time I helped. As you can see, we have, what is this meat called?
Chicken.
Okay.
Meat, what it's called?
The meat of black people, chicken.
Yes, it's pan-seared chicken.
Okay, but you did something special with it, so.
No, I just seasoned it and then seared it in the wrought iron skillet. That's it.
Okay.
And then we made some
Brussels sprouts,
pan-seared Brussels sprouts, and a baked potato. But the potatoes aren't done yet, so we'll just eat on this for a minute.
They'll be done by the time we're in the middle of the conversation, I'm sure.
So,
okay,
is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Is it delicious?
That's good. We did a good job.
Let me see.
I did more of the potatoes because I had to butter them up. Oh no, I did the Brussels sprouts too. I cut them. I halved them. That's it. Okay. I need some sauce on my Brussels sprouts. Okay, this is good. I'm gonna put this aside for a minute. But yeah, so catch that video. A real simple meal. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up. You may want to cook. Well, I'd rather go after you on Valentine's Day. But anyway, any day you want to make something real simple, and you'll know it's simple because we mentioned it about 15,000 times. Anyway, so how's your week been going, Alvin?
It's been going fine. It's been going good.
Okay.
Relaxing. You know, just mainly doing the gym thing, a little bit here, a little bit there.
But you're always on the gym thing. I wish I did the gym thing more so I can, get all sexy.
I still gotta work on all that shit.
Stop. You don't tell me to stop when the camera's ain't right.
Yes, I do. I tell you all the time.
He doesn't, y'all. Anyway, so my week has been pretty good. I really wish I was retired like you. I'm tired of working, but anyway.
You got a while to go.
I have a while to go, so I'm young.
Okay.
No, what? No comment? Oh, wow.
Well, you just went off on me over there
I did.
when you told me I was old, but you're old also. So that's why we're talking about age, and ageism, because there's a lot of stigmatism around that. And but anyway.
I meant to say you're older, not old.
Not that much older.
You're not that close. Anyway, while I was going through my week, I stumbled upon this video. And I thought of you because you're always wanting to have the last word. And as you go through these videos, you will see that Alvin is, somewhat of would that be a narcissist?
No.
Well, you like to have your last word.
That doesn't have anything to do with narcissism. I don't appreciate you calling me that. So don't call me that. I am not a narcissist. But come on, let's go.
No, you told me the other day that everyone has
most people have some type of narcissism in them, but there's a line that you cross when you actually become a narcissist.
Okay, well,
people have a little vanity or whatever. But that's just normal. That's just normal narcissism. But as far as to become where you're an actual narcissist, which we're not getting into that conversation, there's a lot of criteria that you meet before you can be, and then actually a therapist would have to diagnose you like that. But there's a lot of people walking around who are narcissists and they don't realize that they are, and they have all the traits, most of them. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Right. So anyway, I thought of you. So look at this video you got.
All right, whatever. Do what you do. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Cooler.
Bro.
Sis.
Yo, look, I'm gonna be good.
And I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be very better.
Okay. All right, say less.
And less was said.
I thought that was so funny. We have to watch it one more time.
All right, whatever. Do what you do. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Cooler.
Bro.
Sis.
Yo, look, I'm gonna be good.
And I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be very better.
Okay. All right, say less.
And less was said.
And
Right.
you're one city down.
Right, because it's when she always wants to have the last word. It gets me when she called him sis. He say, bro, sis. And then when he said, say less. Less was said. Like, who does that? Like, girl, come on, we're done.
So you're saying that's me, but do you try to get the last word also?
No, I try to get my point
So-
across.
So do you keep talking?
No.
You are just a little pussycat, aren't you?
No, I'm a bulldog when I need to be. But anyway, yeah, there's something like that was our no you didn't segment or whatever. I just thought that was really funny. But yeah, today's topic, of course, is not narcissism, but it is ageism. And I think for me, when I started doing a little research and looking at the videos and articles online about it, just to get more familiar with it, because I guess I'm really starting to get in that age now.
Starting?
Starting.
Aren't we
Yes.
both at that age?
I mean, you've been in it longer.
Okay, but
You've been in it longer. I'm just starting. I'm beginning. I'm on the beginning side of it. So I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I can see why this is hard on our community because, especially blacks, because first of all, you come in this community being gay. That's already a thing, right? And then for us, black, for us, men, it didn't just say you're trans or you're bi or you're Asian or whatever ethnic group so you already come in with like these stigmas on you or whatever. And then like somewhere I believe, like for me, and it's different ages for everybody. Like for me, it was like to 20s and 30s. You kind of resolve all that. Like I'm black. There's nothing else I can, or I'm this, I'm that. You kind of resolve it. Some people are still struggling to love themselves or whatever. But there comes a point where you resolve like I'm okay with being who I am or whatever. So by the you get 30, 40, you resolved all that. Then here comes another one. Ageism. So it's like, oh my God, another thing. So I can see why it may lead to mental illness and stuff like that, because it's like I can't take anymore. I dealt with all these other things, being black, being gay, being this, being that, being a top, being a bottom, being verse, all this stuff, because there's stigmas on everything almost. Now I'm at the kind of like the downside, because you're kind of what they say, over the hill, going up the hill. So you're kind of like on the downside of life or whatever. And that may be, a bad word or whatever. But it's like now I have to deal with this. And it's very sad that we have to, like prove our importance. Because to me, I never really, maybe in conversation when we're just making jokes, I never really made fun of old age like that. I mean, for someone personally, like, I don't think I have like discriminated, and we may have in certain things like, there's someone in front of you and they're going so slow, and then you realize it's an older person or whatever. But it's not like discriminatory or anything like that. But I never really thought about it until we started, really getting into the subject or whatever. But I can really see how it is a hard thing or whatever. What are your thoughts, Alvin? Someone's calling me.
So far, yeah, I am older, but so far it hasn't affected me as far as like meeting people, going out. I don't go out all that much, but if I do, I haven't had a problem, meeting people, meeting guys, I'll meet them all age ranges, basically, So I haven't had a problem with that aspect of it yet. You know, it may come. I try to take care of myself or whatever. So, you know, but I haven't had to think about that part as far as, you know, being older and being not seen. There's a lot of, there are a lot of guys and women, you know, and women too in the Black gay community and I'll just say, as we get older, they feel a lot of loneliness, you know, or they feel isolated, you know, or they some of them don't want to go out to the clubs because of how they look like, you know, well, what are you out here with these youngins or whatever, with the young ones for? Why are you dressed like that? You know what I'm saying? Or you know, there's almost, you know, the club scene, a lot of times it is kind of made for the, you know, the younger scene. They do have bars and stuff, you know, like that where, you know, some, you know, the younger ones and the older ones can intermingle, you know, but a lot of times from what I hear, a lot of the older ones say that they feel not accepted or overlooked because they are older and they don't have that youthful body or that youthful look. And then, and they feel stigmatized or whatever, and they feel lonely. And a lot of times they just go and, you know, sitting in the house watching TV, or now some have groups and friends that they hang out with. But from what I'm understanding and hearing about, you know, like some of the people I've talked to, you know, they do feel that stigmatism and loneliness, and they don't want to always be out at the bars and stuff, but they, you know, they don't want to be sitting in the house too and left alone, you know, and I do, you know, they could talk about that fear of, you know, like a lot of their friends have, you know, if their friends have died, or they, you know, they just say early on in life or something, they were isolated away from their family, you know, and so they have, only thing they had was their family that they made through the gay community, you know, your self-made family and not blood. And, you know, but as they get older, what if they die off? You know, like they die off and this, you know, you're left alone or no one to care for you, you know, and that's what their fear is. Like, you know, as they get older, who's going to care for them? Or I should say us. I have a son, you know, my son already said he's looking after his dad. So, you know, hopefully that holds, but you know, it will. I'm just kidding. But, you know, but everybody does, you know, a lot of gay people don't have, you know, children to look after them, or they've been isolated from their family at early on that they can't even go home to their family. So some of them end up dying alone if they had a partner and the partner died or whatever. But they say, you know, they say a lot of gay people, you know, 70 so percent or so are like, you know, are not partnered, you know, they're single even into old age, or, you know, and so they end up have that fear of dying alone in a nursing home, or, you know, no one tending after them, or if they are put in a nursing home, you know, if they're being abused, no one's coming in to check on them. So that fear is there, and that, I think it's that loneliness. And you know, as we get older, you know, do we think about that? Like, you know, because I know when we're younger, we're not much thinking about getting old, but we do get there.
I think you have to think about it, because especially if you're working, because the job almost forces you to think about it, because you have to start, you know, you're getting your 401k when you're retiring and stuff like that. I don't think we think of all the aspects of being older and having, you know, the separation from maybe the community in some instances, because now I don't have to go to work, so I don't have the coworkers. I don't, you know, I really don't have a reason to leave the house. You kind of have to force yourself to go out there or whatever. But there should be a point when you're, you know, establishing your estate and all that. So you have to think about, your body would tell you. Your body would tell you that, okay, I'm getting older. But sometimes I think that's where mentors come in, and, you know, financial advisors and all that, to kind of start helping us think about, okay, how are you going to map out this, you know, your golden years or whatever? Because it is something we must think about it. And we mentioned community. And I was going to say this for later, and I probably will restate it later. But when you were talking about, being lonely and stuff like that, it's like we can't forget community, family member. And I know you was talking about like partners or whatever. Your partner can be everything. You have to have an outside, source of interaction or whatever. Because you and your partner, one of you may go first or whatever. So always keep that interaction with friends, a community, support groups, a church, or a community center or something. That's what I'm saying. Do that. Like get out there. Now, if you have the fear, because really ageism is to me, I was telling you the other day, like every subject we've talked about, it's like the foundation has been fear.
We start off in fear.
Yeah.
Most of us.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us. Some of us depends on our family, but most gays and lesbians, trans, bis, LMNOPs, they do start off. They have that fear. I didn't come from that type of family where I had to worry about that type of fear. Right. So, and my family is still there. So. If I got old and they needed, they would be right there in a heartbeat, or whatever. But everybody doesn't have that, and like you say, they start off with that fear, and we carry that fear as we go along and along, and then as we get older, for the ones that, because there's down low, and they're not out, or they're semi out, or not completely out, so they have that fear, but that fear, of growing old and being alone, that does stem from probably the fear of, being not accepted by your family. And then as you get older, if you're still don't have friends or a close-knit group that you're with or whatever, then you can be isolated if you don't have your family to help take care of you or to be there for you, and you don't have that group of friends, and or they've died off, you know what I'm saying, or they're ill and sick too, and they might be in the same lot, and then also black, the black gay, even the youth, the black gay young going into adult, our poverty level is higher than the normal mainstream, not normal, but the mainstream, white community or whatever, as far as income. So you can end up in a bad nursing home or nowhere to go, or homeless and or whatever. So that fear can play in there too. What's going to happen? I think the fear is what's going to happen to me, because there's nobody there for me, or I don't have nowhere to go, or I can't afford to live in a nice retirement village, or whatever. What do you think about that? I mean, do you have that fear of being alone as you age?
I do not.
You don't think about it at all?
No, I didn't say I don't think about it. I do not have that fear of being alone, because, and when you say family, I don't consider family just the people that I grew up with. Family can be like the friends I've made, or like they're like family to me or whatever. So that's why I'm saying, like, as far as the alone aspect of it, unless you're just so introverted that you just don't want to meet anybody, then this is going to be very hard for you. But there's community here. You have to just tap into it. And you can't limit family to like mama, dad, brother, sister. It can be cousins, uncles, or the people next door. Have that already. Keep building up that community. Don't ever get to a point where it's just you. I mean, that's not good for anybody. We were made for a relationship. We just, I don't know, we get excited about it. It's just something about engaging with another person and throwing ideas off of each other and just talking about what you like, your hobbies, and maybe you start a friendship or however. But no, I don't think about being alone, even though I do not have kids. I do have a niece, nephew. I have a sister, my brother, we're about the same age. So I do have people, still in my age group, but still have my parents right now. And then I do have a community because I don't, like I said, I don't consider just those people that are blood my family. So I don't really have that fear. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I don't think anyone will purposely lead me to the side. I don't think we're gonna have that big of a fallout that I'm just like nobody will talk to me or tend to me, like that, yeah. So
yeah, I think I worry. I don't worry about it per se for myself. Like I said, I haven't had that issue of being so far.
being alone.
Yeah, of being alone. I mean, I've always had my family, and then I have my son here too. But I haven't had a problem out in the community of meeting people. I usually can fit into any scene.
Yeah,
can. So, and then I don't have a problem of meeting a diverse group of people, and I have a diverse group of friends. But I am concerned about, the ones who don't have that, who are isolated, who don't have that friend group.
But why are they like that though?
But like you said, fear. It could be a fear of meeting people, or the stigmatism of just being gay. Like there's still a lot that's not out, and nobody knows, that they're gay or bi, trans or whatever in the closet. You know what I'm saying? They have that fear, and they grow old, and they grow older and older, and then they can get to that point where they realize I'm old and I have no one here to care for me. I didn't come out. I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I have no one. I can see where that can be a fear for them, and I can see where that would be loneliness, because we never know what's going to happen to us. Right now we might be blessed. You know what I'm saying? But who knows what? I tend to say, that phrase, "Therefore the grace of God go I." I can end up like that too. Who knows what happens? You might end up with no family or no friends. They, like I say, they can die off too. Your friends at your group now, and you can be
talking about
the
fear or the. Because I thought
I'm talking about aging and aging and ageism together. As we age, how are we? As we age, how are we looked upon by our own community? Because we're older. There's a stigmatism there, because you do hear the young ones, you'll hear them if you're over 30, if you're over 30, you're considered old in the gay community. That's a form of ageism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So sometimes they think they're not going to get old too. Maybe we thought we weren't going to get old. We just was out partying and going to school and, doing whatever we were doing.
Every time you have a birthday, you get old.
and thankful for the birthday, because some people didn't make it today.
Right.
And we are, we're older, but we still do okay. But some people did not make it today. And hopefully we make it tomorrow, but some people might not make it tomorrow to get to the age that we are. It's a blessing. So but there's still a stigmatism.
So from what you're saying or what you were saying, it's like, let me speak for me. So to me, there is a difference between, okay, I have the fear and then opposed to you saying like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I may lose this, I may lose it, I may lose that or whatever.
Right.
But for me, I'm not there. I mean, those are really extremes. To me, I'm not gonna have the fear only because I've already resolved that within myself that, okay, I know I'm going to get older. I know that it's a part of life. I've seen people in my life get older or whatever. So I don't have a fear of it or whatever. And then on the other side of what you say, we may not have that. We're blessed right now, whatever. That's why I was saying, regardless of what happens with your blood people or whatever, always build community. Always, and even though those people might be there, then you go to the next thing. You just never want to isolate you. But if you have the fear, because that's what you say, those are the people. Those are the people that you're concerned about. Those people. How do you help those people if they have the fear? Because there are resources there, but if you have a fear, of even meeting people or even trying to get the resources that are there, how can you help a person like that?
I guess it's inclusion, I mean, just try to include, and as much as possible. I mean, sometimes we might not run into that, as we're getting older, we're starting to see older people also. I mean, we older people around us, our family and stuff is around us, but we know older people, right? People who are older than me, that I hang out with, and then I have younger that I hang out with too, that are my friends,
right?
But they're, I guess with that fear that might keep them from going to the resources, and sometimes the resources don't even help them either. You know what I mean? There's resources out there, but sometimes they can be geared towards a certain group, or what I'm saying? And there's other factors that play into why like gay people, don't tend to speak out, other, gay friends or groups or whatever. There's a lot of factors. So, and I can't answer that question, why this person or that one didn't.
It's sad that the fear is there. However, I get what you're saying, because it just take even the HIV thing. It's the embarrassment. It's the what are they gonna say? I don't want, because you hope that even if you do go for help, that social worker or that community center or whatever, everything is gonna stay, confidential. But well, I know in the streets, people discuss other people's business that they shouldn't even discuss. So it's like, I don't even want to go here because I know I'm gonna be on Twitter or I'm gonna be on Facebook, and everybody, they're gonna be talking about me. Oh, that's the one right there. Oh yeah, he was in our office and he had to get this and this and that. So it's what are they gonna say? Am I gonna be accepted? They make you feel bad for even coming to get the help. Yeah.
So that keeps them bound up. That's right. It keeps them bound up, like you say. The reason why they won't seek the help and stuff, which keeps them can keep them in their loneliness. And those people can get older or whatever and just die alone, which could be sad. When we don't have a community or someone that accepts us and they're our friends or our family that can look after us as we do age. Exactly. It could be sad.
Well, we do have some questions here, Alvin, to go over. I don't know. I see some already. Did you?
Yeah, I put that up. I said, do Black gay men live as if they will not age or get old?
Okay, so that's the first one you want to do, or you want me to start at the top? Because I have some questions that have come in.
Yeah, I didn't. When I put them in there, I didn't put them in any specific order.
Okay. Well, it's best for me to go in order because I don't know what you started. So, can I go to this one first? The first one?
You can go to whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Okay, so, we can just discuss it because I don't think this is a question. Can you see it? Is it showing? Okay, there it is. Right. Research shows. Do you see that? It's not up there yet.
I don't see it.
Oh, maybe I can't change it. Maybe you have to do it.
No, you should be able to.
It says hide, so
unhide it.
No, I did. I'm showing it, but if I put this, it's gonna hide it. Now put show.
Where down there where it says research shows older LGBT adults are less likely to be partnered.
Okay, there it is. Oh, so what is this right here?
One banner is scrolling across the bottom. That's the ticker, and the other one is, just one of the questions up there. The one at the bottom is not a question. That's the one I put up earlier. It's been scrolling across the bottom since we started.
Okay, so here's the question. Okay. So is older than 30 considered old in the LGBT LMNOP community? What do you think about that?
So yeah, that's what we were just talking about a minute ago. Ever since I was a teenager, I have been hearing, even my group of friends back then would say, when somebody was 30, they was like, oh, that old queen, that doesn't mean that they're not going to go and have sex with them or try to be in a relationship with them, you know, or whatever. But it's considered old. They would even say they even say, you know, 30 over 30, you know, that you're my father. You know, they would say, oh, you know, you consider you as their father or their grandfather. Don't be 40. Well, you know, in your 40s, that I ain't date nobody that's my grandfather's age, which I don't know. But they do have people that, you know, there are kids, people are born, mothers have kids at 12, and fathers do have kids at 12 and 13, which turns into which can turn you into a grandparent early. But yeah, I've been hearing that saying, you know, and back then, you know, I'd laugh at it and didn't pay any attention. But as I get older, you know, I realize it's an insult, you know, or whatever, because hopefully you get to be over 30, hopefully you get to be over 40 and you make it to 50. Right. You know, I would like to get to 80 or 90 or 100, you know, but then I do think about that, because what if I'm 80, not 80, but, you know, 80 or 90, and then all of them, you know, just say all of my relatives have passed. Hopefully they won't, they'll be around too, but what if they have passed? You know, my sisters and brothers and my mother and my cousins, you know, who we all look after each other and therefore, and then my son, you know, he'll be there, but, you know, if he has grandkids, hopefully he'll be here, you know. But what if it's not, you know? So I got to look at, you know, I look ahead at like that too. I don't dwell on it, but, you know, I have thought about it like, you know, I don't want to be that old and everybody else is gone and I'm the only one left here. Then I probably wouldn't have that support group to take care of me, and then I can end up in that position, and therefore the grace of God go on. But yeah, I think I'm not on the apps, you know what I'm saying? But in the apps, from what I hear, you know, and when I was on them, you know, when I was on Jacked a couple of years ago or whatever, I never got on Grindr, but I did get on Jacked. You know, I think I was on there for about 2 years, and I'd probably hop on and off, you know, maybe every few months, see what's going on, pick up a little strange, I guess. But when I was on there, you would see those in the comments, you know, 30, you know, they would put in there, no one over 30, you know, no one over, you know, I don't want no old head, no dead head. But the thing of it is, they would say that, but when they see your picture, you know, as long as they think you're not catfishing them, and they think, you know, whatever, then they're going to hit on you. And then you could, well, you just said it, your profile don't want over 30, but you look good. Right. Is that, or what they, you know, their perception. So, but they do think that in our community. I don't hear about that in the straight community. Oh, I say if you're over 30. You do?
My cousins, my family. That's what I was going to say. This question is just not for gay. This question is for when we get a certain age, your cousins kind of make, oh, you're getting old now. I mean, families do that.
Do they say over 30 though? Do they think just because you're over 30? Because it's an actual
I've never heard this. However, when I was younger, I don't think I put an age on it because I didn't really know how old people were. However, I put a face to it, a body to it. Like you say, like when they see your picture, they be like, oh, well, I'll date you because, you know, you're cute or whatever. That's how I would do it. I mean, if you look all right, then, I mean, we could date. I don't really care about your age. So I never put a number on it. But I have seen, you know, like Will and Grace. I saw an episode where they put a age over and they was like saying, you know, you're old in gay years or whatever. But me personally, I never put an age on.
I saw that episode too, and that was over. They even said it specifically in there, over 30. You know, it seems like it's a thing. I know there are exceptions to the rules. You know, if they think you look good or you got a nice body or whatever, then they'll go for it. But but they say that over 30. But now I'm hearing even 40-year-olds, even though they're 40, they're saying if you're in your 50s, they're calling that old. But they're going to get there too.
And who's calling that old? The people in their 20s?
No, the ones in their 40s. The ones in their 40s are now thinking that people in their 50s are old. I've heard it over this last year. I've heard it a lot from different different people I've been around,
Right.
where they, you know, I heard the old comment a lot.
Oh wow.
You know, they're not directing. They weren't directing it at me. But I have heard it where they're, you know, those words just come out of their mouth. That old, you know, that old so and so so on, and then, but they're in their 40s, and I'm
think
like,
a lot of times when
and
we
they'll say
say,
it for somebody's 50.
I think a lot of times when we say, oh, we, I don't think we purposely do it, but we leave the ER off because you are older, but not necessarily old. Or whatever your definition of old is.
What's your definition? Right?
Yeah. And you know, and I know old, if you look it up, it has a definition. But just because
But it doesn't have an age.
You're right, it doesn't have an age. So just because I'm old doesn't mean I'm of no use anymore. Or, you know, I don't have anything to offer. So yeah. Okay, that's another question here. Let's see.
It just seems like there's a lot of, you know, it's talked about a lot in our. I hear it a lot of places. That old this or that so and so, and then, and I'm not concerned about that. The words coming out of people's mouth. What I'm more concerned about is the people out there who don't have the help or don't have the community to help them, and they feel isolated. You know, that's what that's what worries me. People who are isolated and don't get that help or feel alone. And, you know, and I, you know, I have thought, you know, therefore the grace of God go I. So, you know, hopefully I don't ever get there, but.
Okay. So the second question is, do a majority of Black gay men die alone? Type in your comments. Do you have research for that, or do you have a comment on that? I mean, I don't know if the majority of Black gay men die alone.
Well, the majority of, not the majority, you know, maybe that's the wrong, I mean, that was the question, you know, but the majority part, I don't know if a majority do, but it's a quite a high number of Black gay men, more so than the lesbians, you know, or whatever. From what I read and statistics on that. And then at certain places where I have volunteered at before, it was a lot of, you know, gay men, not just Black gay men, but white gay men too. They were not partnered. They were single.
And I was going to ask you that. What do you mean by alone? Do you mean like there's like they have a funeral and no one shows up, or you just saying they're not in a relationship?
Not a relationship, you know, friends. They don't have friends to take care of them. They don't have family to take care of them. And the number is pretty high. I don't remember what the number, it was somewhere like maybe about 49 or 50 something percent of Black gay, you know, Black gays. You can include the lesbians in there also, trans, you know, or whatever. But they say the trans die, even a lot of them die early just because they're being murdered and stuff, usually between somewhere 25 and 30 and 35 and stuff. Right. But as far as the gay men, if they're living, you know, if they're living into their 50s and 60s and 70s or whatever, it was a high number that they, you know, that they die alone. They don't have anyone to take care of them, because some of it has to do with AIDS. You know, AIDS has taken out their friends that they did have, their support group and friends that they did have. AIDS has taken them out, you know, and they could be the only ones left from their group, and they don't have any other friends around because theirs have died. They don't have the family members to take care of them, so they end up indigent. You know, some of them, you know, because if they don't have the money, you know, or if they, you know, they can end up indigent in nursing homes or in their own apartments or something, right, with no one there to take care of them, you know. And you know, when we watched Pose, remember that was addressed in Pose, you know, where they were, you know, their friends were dying of AIDS, and their family wasn't there, and they didn't have other friends. And then they went to that body graveyard that was where that ship took, you know, where they was on that ship, and it took them maybe, I think, over Staten Island, somewhere like that. And then, you know, they had these unmarked, they were just piling them, you know, just the dead people were, you know, that was back then, you know, but it still happens. It might not be it might not be to the same effect, you know, to the gravity that it was back then, but it still happens where, you know, older gay people are dying alone.
So our community is so important, because
it's important.
Even if all your friends and don't isolate yourself because all your friends shouldn't be gay. I mean, they can if that's what you choose, but I mean, one of the main things you kept saying is that their friends have died of AIDS, their friends have died of this or this. But I mean, and not to say that AIDS is only a gay thing or whatever, but you have to have more than just one type of friend. I'm thinking like in Pose, most of their friends were gay, and that disease was hitting them, I guess, harder than other whatever groups. But if you have friends outside of that, that's why you have to have community. If I employ everyone that is getting older, and we all are getting older, is to always have that community, be inclusive. Have that support group. Have people. Don't ever put yourself, in a closet all by yourself. You're still useful. You're still important. And I know sometimes we don't feel that way, and people in society makes us not feel that way. But try at your best to just stay vital, stay in the community, stay on top of things, stay. Support groups or whatever, just to have that community, just to have that someone to just bounce stuff off.
I think things happen, you can have all of that, but as we continue to life, if we keep lifing, things happen, you can get ill, you can get, you can lose your job, or you could, not have the resources. Like I said, you're isolated from your family. A lot of times gay people, gay and lesbian, the community, a lot of times they make other gay friends, not because of by choice, because their own family rejected them, or the straight, their straight friends that they did have may have rejected them, so then you make gay friends, and then you might feel accepted and valued more around your gay friends, and feel loved or whatever. So then you tend to get more gay friends or whatever. But as we age, we're going to die off. And so what I'm concerned about, like, is who is there to take care of those who don't have what we have. I know there's resources, but who is there if you don't have all of that? And everybody
have the resources though. It's there. You got to take advantage of it.
You can have the resources, but that don't mean that the resources, they're going to give them to you.
And that's
there's still discrimination there too, right. And there's a hierarchy of who can get those resources, or that's still there.
Yeah, and that means we need the politicians, we need to go vote and stuff like that. When you get into all that, but as far as there's resources there, but you do have to take advantage of it or whatever. You want to go to the next question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So is there a stigmatism against older gays that still like to frequent the gay bars? Huh. I think that some young people will have comments to say when they see older men there, because they're like, what's granddaddy doing here?
You'll hear that.
Yeah, because like you said, the club is catered. And that's why I think a lot of them have different nights for stuff. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, clubs are catered for the young people, because that's who are coming, that's who buying the drinks. They're the ones that still got that party in them. So yeah, we're catering to you guys. Most older people, not all, but most or some older people, when they get older, they're really like, they're building a family, they're staying at home, or they're partnered, or they're just through with that. Because I did all that in my younger days or whatever. So we know we're not really going to get that crowd. So we do want that younger crowd. So yeah, they are there. And I think sometimes they think this is our space, so why are you here? And no one wants you, no one wants you unless you know, we want that sugar daddy, or, you know, we want somebody to pay our bills, or you cute as an older guy or whatever. So I can see there being a stigmatism, but I would say for the older guys that if you still into gay bars and you still into going to the clubs or whatever, you go. It's your money. I wouldn't let what people may be saying or what they're thinking. And what I always say this about that. I think my mom told me this one time. You don't know what people are thinking. I mean, you know, you have that nonverbal communication, but you really don't know what they're thinking. So I don't care, you know, because we say, well, they probably gonna think this. You don't know you're not in their heads or whatever. So I would go if I feel like I want to go out, then I'm going out. It's my money or whatever. So on the other end, I was encouraged, you know, older black guys or gay guys to go out. But yeah, I think there is a stigmatism, you know, some.
Yeah, it's there because you will hear you'll hear the like if you're older and then like you're in there dressing like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you're in there dressing like the young ones. You'll come in there with your little with your high top gym shoes on, and then all your little colors and different clothes and stuff, or your tight skinny jeans and stuff, and you might be 40 or 50, and they'll be like, well, what are you what they in here dressed like that for with they old ass, or you hear that type of stuff. I mean, it might not affect us like that, I mean, they could be saying it, we just haven't heard them directing it at us,
right?
But I mean, and then probably the more you are in the clubs, you probably hear it more or whatever. Depends on how frequent you frequent the clubs. If you're in the clubs every week with the 20, 30s and something year olds, and if you're in there every week or every 2 weeks, whatever. I don't know how often most people go out. I'd have to go out, in order to see if they're out all the time like that. But I mean, I've heard other people say that, even when I've been in, I've heard them say that about people that was in the club, making fun of that person or that person of what they had on, even though this young one had it on too, but then the 40 something or the 50 something, it may even be some 60s or 70s in there too. I mean, I've seen some that maybe where I probably would have.
So that's old clothing, because I think we all dress alike.
You do?
I do.
You think all the gays dress alike?
Yes, for the most part. Yeah, because when I go, so even we mostly go to events that cater to our age group. We don't really go
to party. If we're going to a house party or an event or something.
When we go to Deep Ellum, I won't drop any names. So we know we'll go to Deep.
You talking about on premise?
Yeah,
you can drop a name. That's not bad.
We need everything.
Is on premise? Is that's put on by KK2M, right?
All this free advertising. Yes, it is KKM. Hey, y'all.
So they cater to a certain age group, right? So is it 40 and above, or is it?
Well, so the
that's
guys
what on-premise is about, right?
The guys that are over it, they're our age, and so they cater. That's why most of the clubs that are bars that they choose are more sophisticated, because the young people, they'll go to a hole in the wall. As long as we bumping and grinding and twerking and, booty dropping, whatever, they don't care. And you keep the liquor running. But, us of an older age, we kind of want the ambiance and all that or whatever. And so they will pick clubs that are like that. We're older, even the straight people, they have, clubs that cater to, whatever, to their liking. It's not just a hole in the wall. They serving Kool-Aid and, no, we got wine and, the expensive stuff, tequila and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this group does cater. And when I'm there and I'm looking around the crowd, we all got on pretty much the same thing. So, I mean, so I don't know. But I mean, I really do get what you're saying. It's not really what you're wearing. It's kind of like how you're wearing. Now, me and I told y'all my age the other week. I just turned 50. So me as a 50-year-old, I'm not gonna purposely like have my pants all the way down here. Now, you may see a little, underwear, because I may not wear a belt or whatever, but I'm not sagging per se or whatever. And I think it's how you Well, I'm not. I don't purposely go out and say. Because if I did, then I would keep them down and just have them, and that's all you would see, or whatever. But I think when the young people see that, they're probably like, "No, why is he just like that?" But they make it like my mom and dad are wearing skinny. I even told my dad, I said I shop at H&M a lot or whatever. Oh, look, I'm gay free advertisement again. But anyway, they make jeans and clothes. Styles change, and it's like, yeah, you kind of want to see, your older people in this and your younger people in this, but that's what society puts on you. If that's how you want to dress, you can dress any kind of way you want to. But yeah, people gonna talk regardless. It's like you damn you do, damn if you don't. They're gonna talk regardless. One of my friends, when we start hanging out, he told me, said, we're gonna have to go shopping because Roger, we're gonna have to go shopping because you dressing like an old man or whatever. Because I would wear like my American Eagle pants or whatever it was, Express jeans and stuff like that. He was like, "No, we need to get you in some skin because you have a nice body, you have nice legs. We need to, accentuate those and show those." He's like, "We need to get you in this," because I never really wore skinny jeans. I mean, I probably wore the slim fit because I always was slim on the bottom, and now I'm kind of getting heavy on the top. But we're gonna work with that. But yeah, so it was like, "No, let's get you." And I like the way they look, and and did I get more attention from people? I did, but I was getting attention even with my other stuff too, the other clothes I wear. But yeah, I mean, because it's more appealing to the eye, especially because you have a nice body, and then like you said, when they see us on the apps or whatever, even though our age is there, if you decide to show your age, you still look good. You look nice or whatever. So yeah.
So I put this question up. What is your opinion of monogamy? Has it changed as you grow older?
And what is monogamy?
Monogamy is when you just with one person, you get into a committed relationship and it's just you and them and you're not stepping outside of the relationship. But there's also different versions of monogamy, as what I'm finding out. There's different versions of monogamy. You can be in a relationship and you can be monogamous, but you might play, but you have to tell y'all come up with rules, but you're monogamous, but you only play together. There's different types. My definition of monogamy is if I'm in a relationship with you, then we are exclusive and I'm not stepping outside the relationship to go sleep with anybody else or cheat, and you're not either. That's my definition of monogamy. If I get into a relationship, I want to be monogamous with just that one person, but they'll usually turn out that way with the other one. So that's like my version of monogamy. But now, as the world progresses and we keep lifing, monogamy, it's that definition is starting to change.
Yeah.
But how, what is your opinion on monogamy? Just say at first, has it changed over the years? Because we grew up with our beliefs with, especially with church, religion, your parents, like getting married or whatever, and then, husband, wife or whatever. And then, they're supposed to be committed into that relationship and not, messing around or sleeping or cheating with other people, but they do. But as you get older, if you thought that way, has your feelings or your thoughts on monogamy, has that changed to where, more open relationships, not yours per se, not yours or whatever you're doing per se. I'm just saying in general, people, as they get older, do we relax our views on monogamy? And then it's just like, okay, well, I'm older, I done seen life and stuff, like that. Monogamy is not that important. I can still be in this relationship, be in a committed relationship with this person because we share other values and finances and our time and that. So the sexual part of the monogamy, sexual part doesn't matter that much if they go outside the relationship or you go outside the relationship. Or just say you're older and you find somebody younger and then they still want to be with you, but then they still want to go and step outside the relationship. How do you feel? What's your views on just what I just said there? Not your Not if you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, but
Oh,
but you know what I mean. I'm just saying.
Well, my opinion on monogamy has, I mean, it still means the same thing it's always mean to me, which is being with one other person. I that hasn't changed. Now, growing older, and learning more and reading more, yes, I have become a little more freer outside of a relationship, but within a relationship, I still want monogamy. However, every relationship is different, and sometimes you go into a relationship knowing that, okay, this is what I can bring to the table, and that person saying this is what I can bring to the table. Well, what about this little percent right here that's going to be lacking? So maybe we have a discussion about, how do we, meet that demand or whatever that may be missing that we know neither one of us can bring to the table. So I'm open to the discussion, whatever. Now, since all these terms and all these different changes and all these relationships have come out, I really haven't had a relationship other than, well, no, I did have one. I did have one, but that's the recent. So this, and it was something new. And would I ever do it again? I may, but like I said, we still have to have that discussion. And anytime we veer from that, we need to come back to the drawing board and discuss that. Don't just, go out on your own and be like, no, let's talk about it, let's discuss it or whatever. Which really happened with the relationship I was in. It's like we said this and now you want to whatever. But back then, before all this stuff came out, and you can be paying, you can be this and you can be that or whatever, never considered that. Like, no, it's just gonna be me and the other person or whatever. But now, as society grows and you in terms and knowledge and people saying they feel this way or they are this way, I believe I was born this way or whatever, then yeah, I take all that into consideration. Would that be the relationship I would want to be in and grow old in? I don't know. It may be for right now, but then maybe some weeks, months, years later, I might be like, you know what, this ain't. So I really wouldn't get into anything based on my age and be like, just because I'm at this age, let me do this or let me try this. Does it go through your mind? Yeah, if that's something you're going to continue to focus on. But anything that you focus on is going to become bigger. Like a microscope, you putting it under the magnifying glass and you're making it so big or whatever. But you deal with it and you go on. But yeah, if that was something that I was just really concentrated on, then yeah, I would just worry about that and be like, okay, let me just get in this just for now, whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be in something just because, I have no other options, or I think I have no other options or whatever. Because there's someone that's at home probably thinking the same thing. Y'all will probably be the perfect couple. You may be good for each other. But because you've isolated yourself or you done got into something for right now that you think, is gonna be okay or is gonna help this whatever fear it is, because really that's why you're doing it. You got into this this threesome or this foursome, or you can cheat. Like you say, some of them have a plan or an agreement where you can cheat, but don't tell me about it, or we both cheat, I have to be there, or it's just so many. But yeah, I would hope I would never do that because of my age.
So my thoughts on it are as unlike heterosexual couples, they still tend to be in the monogamy, even though they step out, they do it that the other person doesn't know, or both of them don't know. They step outside the relationship, but they still hold those values of monogamy. We're in this, we're not stepping outside the relationship, even though they do. But I do think because of most of my friends that are older, and this is true, most of them have open relationships. The ones that have the relationships, and then they've been in the relationships 5, 10, 15 years or whatever, as they got older, even though they may have been in the relationships and they stepped out of them when they were younger, in their minds, they still wanted the committed relationship, the monogamy, you know, and it would hurt them to the core if their partner stepped out, you know, or if they stepped out, it might didn't hurt whatever, you know, whatever, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as they get older, they have relaxed those views, and then they have went into monogamy is not that important to me. Our finances, our companionship, you know, how we look after each other and stuff, you know, like that, and our friend group and stuff. That's more important to me than the monogamy part. And so a lot of them have, and I'm going to say most of them, they do, and they've told me, I know for a fact that they have, you know, these open relationships where they can step out, and I don't know how, you know, what their mindset is, you know, like how it affects, you know, whatever their mindset when they're doing it or whatever. But most of them do. I still have the views that if I'm in a relationship with you, I'm going to be monogamous. You know, I don't care, I don't care what my age is. I'm going to be monogamous. Now you need to, if I'm single and we're just dating and doing something like that, we can sleep with, mess around, you know, that's not, to me, that's not stepping outside the relationship for me. But once I'm in it, I'm going to be faithful, and I don't need to step outside the relationship. But I have a lot of older friends, 40, 50, 60, even there's some now that have died. I knew some that was 80, and they had open relationships, you know, even though the one they was with was younger, you know, but they still, you know, they had open relationships. And I don't have too many friends that are, I see it. You talking about the potatoes? They're fine. Okay. It's just clicking. I don't have too many friends that are partnered and they don't have an open relationship. I might have a few, but most of them have stepped out of the relationship. And I don't have anything against that. You know, I mean, what you do is you know, for me, you know, I feel more secure when I'm in the relationship and I'm monogamous and the other person is monogamous too. But I don't hold that for anybody else. You do what you do.
So you said most of your older friends are
Most
like
of my
that.
older friends.
So question.
The younger ones step out too. They just don't, but they still talk about they want to be monogamous. And then I hear them talking about, you know, when somebody steps out on them, they're hurt and they want to fight and they want to, you know, so and so. But the older ones, you know.
So my question to go with that is like, so were they not? So this is something that happened when they got older. So when they were younger, they wasn't like.
No, when they were younger, we all went through the same stuff. I mean, I still have the same friends, you know, from way back when. I still see them, you know. So and back then, when we were there, it would upset them to the core, you know, emotional, crying. I done been through it, you know, where, you know, because the other person stepped outside the relationship, that monogamy thing was in their head, you know, and they, you know, it's the societal thing saying this is the way relationships should be. You should be monogamous. More have to do with religion and the Bible and stuff, you know, like that. But gay people, gay guys and women too, you know, but because we're speaking on gays, the gays, but they, you know, their views tend to change on sex, monogamy, relationships and stuff as they get older.
Why?
You know, I mean, it's not all, you know, but I have to go off of the experience of the people that I know, you know, and the people that my friends know who tell me about their other friends who, you know, they're in a relationship, but they
So what was the why?
Huh?
So what was the why?
There's a lot of it, you know, the sexual thing ain't there no more. They done had a lot of sex or whatever, or they just ain't interested in sex, you know, with that person as much anymore, or they'll bring somebody in and include it. There's a lot of reasons why they just don't put that emphasis on it because they've tried the monogamy thing and it doesn't seem to work a lot. It don't even work with straight people. But, you know, but they try it, and then they done been in a relationship, and then one or both either step out of it, step outside the relationship. They don't really want to lose their partner and stuff, like that, because they like they like everything about it. Sometimes it's just the sex has fell off, or they're not attracted to that person sexually anymore, or they just like to bring other people in, so, to keep it exciting. Or it's just not that important to them no more, like it was, when you were younger. Now there's young people who, who think that way too, but I think when we're younger, most of the time we think that, when we get in a relationship that we're monogamous. I think most of us, but as we get older, now my dumb mind probably ain't changed. Maybe I need to change my ways, because I can't seem to get into one where the person, they tell you they want to be monogamous and they cheating all over the damn place. But no, but you know what I'm saying? But maybe I need to change my views too.
No, cheating is never right. Cheating is never right.
But I don't know if it's cheating if you agree upon the relationship. Like if you agree that we're going to be in this relationship, but you don't have to, we're not going to be monogamous, or you have rules to it, but you have to let the other person know. You don't tell the person I want to be monogamous, and then you'll get upset if they go cheat.
Right.
But you're doing everything, whatever I'm saying, but as you get older, I think gay men relax those rules as far as like it, if one steps outside the relationship, it's not a deal breaker to break up the relationship. That's not a deal breaker where it may have been when they were younger or so, and they had the different views. As they got older, they relaxed those views, and that's not that important that they cheat, that they're out there, and they may not even look at it as cheating anymore. They may just look at it as, when they go on and get their thing on, but they'll be back to me, and we have a nice setup here. We got a nice home, or whatever. We're compatible, except for in that aspect or whatever. It just becomes not as I don't even know the word I want.
So I get what you're saying, and I think it's true. It happens. But growing up in the gay lifestyle, that like you said, that happens even when you're younger, and it's because people are not really ready to settle down with one person. They don't think about what all that means. Like, this is the person. Like, if you're really, really into this is the person that you're going to, especially when you live together, when you move in, it's the person that you're going to wake up to every day, unless you're out of town or, whatever. But for the most part, this is the person or whatever. So there are going to be some things that are,
Keep talking. I'm going to go turn this
off. Yeah. That are going to be, it's going to be repetitious in the relationship. It's gonna seem a little boring, or you took the life out of it. That's why you have to keep it interesting, and never forget the reason why you came together. Always keep that to the forefront, and still date each other. Don't get too comfortable to where you're not complimenting the person anymore. You're not surprising them. Keep that spontaneity there.
Well, sometimes it's hard, because you're lifing. You're lifing.
Yeah.
You're doing hard.
You have to work at them.
Yeah, you got to work at them. They shouldn't be that hard, but they can be.
Yeah.
Sometimes the communication breaks down, or there's envy and jealousy and all. There's a whole bunch of stuff a reason why I ain't getting it. When we do our relationship thing next week, we can talk about that probably. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
do we have other questions, or was that?
Yeah. What about this one right here? Yeah, but I think as gay men get older, they start, monogamy is not that pressing for them. It's not that big of a deal to be monogamous in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I can see that, and I know of people that are in relationships like that. I said I can see it, and I know people that are in relationships like that. But like I said, not all of them are older though. Some of them, are younger, but I can see how that would.
So this kind of ties into the question that we were just talking about. Are we looking more for companionship or casual sex as we age? Because it kind of ties into that.
I mean, I think for most the people that I hang around with, or the friends I have that are close friends, we all want the companionship. We want like for me, my parents are still together, so I'm like, I want what my parents have, and the love and compassion that they have for each other. I want that. I want to grow old. I've always said that two is better than one. I mean, you have two finances coming together. You have two minds coming together. What I may miss, you may pick up. Where I may be strong in, you may be weak in, but what you're weak in, I'm strong in. We help each other. We're a team or whatever. So I've always aspired for a relationship and companionship. But I do know that some, like, I've done that. I've been in relationships because I know one of your friends, it just came to my mind, but he was like, I just want, what I got. I got two or three people I do it, and that's, whatever. And, there's people like that, like, I don't want that. So, it just depends on the person, I guess. But yeah, I like the companionship.
I do too. I think as I get older, the sex is still important, but it's not as important to me. Now, I don't want to be in a relationship and we ain't having sex.
Right.
No.
Whatever.
All that once a month shit or something like that.
No, I need it every day.
But, not every day.
And I'm 50.
Not every day, but a couple of times a week, maybe, sometimes 2-3 times if you can get it. But if not, I'll take what I can get. But I think as we get older, it's more about companionship to us, what we can share together more so than the sex. Even if you're older and you're still having sex, because most of us still have sex. But I think as we get older, it's more about the companionship.
Oh yeah.
And the sex becomes less less of an urgency, or if you're not getting it or whatever. But yeah, I do believe it's the companionship that as we get older, and that's why we can I'm not gonna say, I say we, but I'm not talking about myself per se, but where we can accept those open type relationships,
Yeah.
and not feel threatened or hurt by it or destroyed, traumatized, or whatever. Or you can get over it quicker and you don't leave the person because of it.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
If they do step outside the relationship. But yeah, I think with the companion, I think it's more, for me, it's more companionship. And but I do like the sex.
Oh, I do too.
But I ain't gonna turn it down, but I ain't gonna pass out if I don't get it.
You're still alive.
So let's do about another 5 minutes here or so, and then we'll probably end this because we done went over an hour.
I know.
So
we got some editing to do.
So what are some pros and cons of getting older? What do you think some pros and cons of getting older? Say for you, or for anybody in general.
I can speak for me. The pros and cons of getting older. So the pros for me is just seeing yourself evolve, just seeing how your day to day, you're becoming a better version of yourself. Another pro to me would just be the relationships that you develop over the time. Like you say, I don't want to live too long to where, all the people have died and I'm the only. I know I'm gonna have cousins, and life is gonna continue. But you have that close family that you're with, and then you have that family that's out there that you only see maybe on holidays or every other holiday or whatever. And the way we're all over, I might not see all those people, even though I know they're there. but you're in a whole nother state or you're in a whole nother city or whatever. But yeah, I don't want to get to the point where I suffer as far as the relationship support, but I do value all the relationships that I do have and expect to see them, go as far as they go. Um, this is just really off the cuff, so that's two pros. So cause it might take a while to think of more. So the cons, I know there's more, but it's like I wish I had already had this question. Well, I did have it, but I didn't think about it. But okay, so cons of getting older. I think it's mostly the treatment older people receive. Because we do treat them a little. I mean,
invisibility.
Yeah, they become invisible to you sometimes, or you put a lot of pressure on them to still be young. It's like no, they're all kind of like babies. Like, what? Shut that baby up! They're crying. They're a baby. They're gonna cry. Or like, and what I mean is like older people, they may walk a little slower, and you want to push them, make them walk. They're older. Let them walk slow. Not saying that just because you're old, you want to walk slow, but some of them do or whatever. So it's like the pressures that come with that. A con. Like I said, it's really just the treatment that I see, because life is, like you said, life is gonna go on, and we're gonna experience, day to day, whatever. But it goes a long way of how people treat you and how people make you feel. If I can grow older and people still make me feel like I'm important, rather, and I'm the type of person, whether you make me feel like it or not, I already know that within. It's work to get there, because a lot of times people tell you what you're not, but I constantly have to tell myself what I am and what I can be or whatever. So if you don't have that resolved in you, then yeah, you may go down that dark path to the sunken place, like Get Out says or whatever. But when you know who you are and what you're capable of and just your essence or whatever, then no matter how people treat you, you know who you are. But it's just sad that people treat you like that. Just because I'm older doesn't mean, and like they'll talk loud to you or whatever, like you're deaf. Hey, sir, did you I'm like, I'm older, but I'm not deaf. I'm not deaf. I mean, it's like we just treat older people like crazy sometimes. But yeah, those are the few that I could think of off the cuff.
So with me getting older, it has leveled me out where I don't worry about hardly anything anymore. It doesn't, I'm calmer than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, and the stuff that bothered me back then, right now, that stuff, the only thing that probably still would get to me is, the relationship stuff, that type of stuff. Yeah. But I can get over that quicker than I would have even back then. Yeah. But it's like, once I was in my 40s and going into my 50s, all of those concerns in the world, I was worried about I was just concerned, raising up my son, giving him the life that he needed, right. Getting him raised and stuff. As I started getting older, I just didn't give a fuck. Right. And the concerns and stuff when you're younger that you have, and then, all that, reading and that the young ones do the reading and the back and forth, and then that in the shade, and then getting into them type of arguments and fights. None of that, it just goes right over my head. And so I'm more calmer. I don't take to heart or worry too much about what people are saying, anymore. I mean, your mind just gets a little bit, you mature, and then it's just you don't have those type of worries, and you do have that, I don't give a fuck, or whatever, and people can play with you and have fun and stuff, and you don't take it seriously and stuff like maybe where younger your feelings could be hurt or something, like that. You just kind of you're just growing. You're just going into life, and then you're getting older. That stuff doesn't bother you. The con, the con is still there. Like, what am I going to be like when I get 80? What is my body going to look like? Because like right now, my body hasn't changed too much or whatever. But what's going to happen when when I don't feel like I'm viable anymore? Am I going to be one of those lonely older people, or whatever? So that, the con, there's some cons to me of getting older too, because you don't have, you might not have that youthful vitality that you used to have. But then I've grown into my maturity, and then I've grown into, I feel like I've grown into my features and my body and, and just life in general. So that came along with me getting older. And then, but that con is still there, of, the aging process, when your body does leave you, or your looks, because looks are in the eye of the beholder, but, what your looks look like, whether, am I going to be blind or half deaf or what's going to happen, little stuff like that. It's probably Leighton up there. That's like, yeah, they're ready, Leighton. And then he was whispering, asking if the potatoes are ready.
I was like, someone's hissing at us.
That's my son. But yeah, there's some cons there of getting, because your body morphs into something else eventually. Eventually we're going to lose all of that, So, there's some cons to it. And then if you, if you're still alive, will you still have your family members and friends around to help take care of you or be there for you, so that's some of the cons of getting older that you don't really think about when you're younger, because when you're younger, you tend to think that you're always going to be here. Most people do, you're going to still be here. You're going to look like this and that, but that's not the reality.
Yeah.
So I think we got one more question here. We already talked, so what about that one? I think we talked about that a little. Do older gay men and women become invisible to the gay community at large as we age? And I would say probably for the most part, they do. I don't know what your opinion, I think I know what your opinion is, but I would say for the most part, they do. You kind of relegated to the piano bar or the bar, where you're just sitting there drinking, you just, where they're sitting there drinking in the middle of the day. I've seen some of them, where we done been somewhere in the middle of the day, 11, 12 o'clock, as soon as the bar opened, they're sitting there just drinking, nobody there with them, or whatever, or they're, the clubs are for the younger ones, basically, so you're relegated to this type of, or you're just relegated to a house party, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
You might not be invited to is all the stuff that you used to be invited to, or whatever, because you might have ailments and stuff where you just can't get out, or you just whatever. So I can see where people fall into invisibility, if that's a word, invisible, where they can become invisible.
Invisibility.
Yeah, I don't know.
Invisibility.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a word. I didn't even pronounce it correctly.
But so I think it's how visible are you? How visible do you keep yourself? That you retain, because I see older people in the club a lot, like, and when I say that, I'm talking about like the drag queens and the Wandas and the PTs and the T.S. Madisons, and it's how visible do you make yourself? If you choose to make yourself visible, then you can always be a part of it. But I'm giving you examples. These people they're still there. Like some of those, like there's one, she ends the show, Miss Wanda, I can't think of her name. I'm so sorry. She ends the show every Kennedy Davenport. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. She has to be around my age or whatever, but she still is being visible in the gay community. So it's how are you getting yourself now when you're And then there's one, Sally. I know she's on the walker or whatever, but she still will come up. But I know there's some that can't even leave the house. And then, like you said, who's going to visit them and seeing if they're okay?
Lady, will you bring me an apricot fried pie, please, sir?
You ain't even finished your dinner.
I know, I'll eat that later. I want some sweets. You want one?
Sure, I'll take one.
Will you bring us one, please, sir?
Thank you.
Since I made them yesterday, Charles helped cook this today, but I made those yesterday. So
How was the food today? Like,
I'm sorry, Charles. You go ahead and finish. I didn't mean to interrupt.
well, you did.
Yeah,
No,
I
you're
did.
fine. No, you're fine.
Since he was in there doing it, I think he could just breathe.
I know. Say less. No, I mean, yeah. So it just depends on how visible you decide to keep yourself. And then I do like the tributes that happen every once in a while. You know, but most of those just happen when you die, which is sad. I mean, give them their flowers while they're here, because we will have like a celebration or a tribute to certain people that have impacted the community. But most of the time, it's when they're dead.
Do you think more in the gay community? You think more women, the lesbians? Do you think they're more coupled off than the gay men? And then as they get older, do they have more? Do they have? Thank you, sir. Do they have? Here's our little apricot pies.
Yes.
So we probably need to heat it up, but you don't have to. You can eat them like this.
I want my heat.
You want to heat it up?
I'll heat it up in a minute.
Okay. So then, I see more lesbians coupled
Like in
relationships more so than the gay guys. Gay guys can get coupled. And
You
they
feed that, or do you actually know you?
No, I actually have quite a few lesbian friends that are coupled, and they still been coupled for 20 years. But what'll happen when one of them dies if they don't have kids? That's where the ageism can fall into that. Because even though they've been coupled, and that's what they know, that's their life, that's their world that they know. And then they've been together all these years, and when that partner dies, and just say they don't have anybody else out there or whatever, because that's what they knew was that, then they can fall into that type of loneliness and isolation also. But I do find that there are more older lesbians that are coupled than I do find the gay men that are coupled. And when I looked at the statistics, there are a lot. There are more. There ain't a whole lot of them, but there's still more than the gay men that tend to be coupled in our old age. Gay men in our age range, 40, 50, 60, 70, and whatever, they tend to be still not coupled, even though they would like to be, from what I hear, and we looked at some stuff too that said, that backed up that, that was saying that, they would like to be or whatever, but they feel they feel like they don't fit in with the younger crowd, or a certain age group or whatever. But with the lesbians, it happens with them too.
And it may be just the way females and males think, because I mean, we do think differently at times, because like my mom, or just females, period, they have a way of thinking that is different than men thinking. Like sometimes it's emotional, because they are the more emotional, not in all cases, but they are more the emotional species or whatever. So they think a little differently, and guys are more seem to be a little bit more logical, like it has to make sense or whatever. So maybe it's just the way that they think, because I don't know. I don't know what would be what makes them in a relationship, what makes them coupled up and us not. Is it just the difference?
Do you think they're more wired to be monogamous? Because that can be a great shock to them too, just like it could be with older gay guys that are coupled and they've been coupled for years, and then their partner dies or they break up. That's very traumatic when something like that happens. But when you're older, I think when you're older and that happens, you might tend to think, okay, well, now I'm old and nobody's going to want me. When you're younger, you just be thinking, okay, well, eventually I'm going to meet somebody else. I'm going to so and so. But does that mindset come into play when we're older and like, well, I'm older now and it's going to be harder for me to, or I'm gonna die alone because I'm not going to meet anybody no more. Who's going to want me at this age, and stuff, like that. Just say, so a lesbian, say she's 70 and her partner is 75, and then her partner, just say the one that's 75, the 70-year-old dies or something, or they break up, and then they don't have just say they was around each other mostly themselves, but then they, and they might have one or two friends, but they might be sickly or need caretaking themselves. Oh my God, I just spit on myself. So that person, I think that lesbian would feel isolated, when that partner dies, and probably maybe thinking, who else is going, at this age, how am I going to get out there? And, I can't go out there and hang with them, with that crowd. I don't have the energy, or I'm ill, or I have these ailments, or, just in general, when that happens, because since the lesbians do tend to be more coupled off than the gay guys at certain ages, older.
For some reason, I really do think it's the difference in the way we a female and a male think. And I'll give you an example, and I don't know, you'll tell me if it makes sense to you, but so like guys, like when you're young, it's kind of like instilled into you to be that player, or like it's okay to have, a phone book of girls or a guy or whatever your thing is, But for women, it's like, no, you need to settle down, find Mr. Right, and you're gonna have that house with the picket fence or whatever. So I don't know if girls, even if you're lesbian or not, I don't think that changes the way you were, brought up, or the things that were instilled in you. I think for them, coupled up, it means something. Like, because we were told as little girls, find that mate. Usually, find that husband.
You were told as a little girl?
No, I said they were girls, females. You probably were told that. But no, they're told.
I used to play with dolls. So.
You probably did, I'm sure. That they're told that. So maybe, that's like their dream, like they inspire, like the wedding thing. Like, ooh, guys ain't sitting around thinking, well, most guys, because, there's always, that percentage. Most guys, or some guys, they're not thinking about a wedding and, it has to have this and that. But girls, it's been instilled in them, like, we're going to do this, you do this. And so they're doing all this, girly stuff or whatever. And some of that is relationship and being in something or whatever. And guys, we're told, like even your daddy, like when you first tell him, I got some, daddy. Oh, that's good, son. They all happy for you that you got your some or whatever. And it's like, you got points for, getting you some or whatever. So I don't know. I just think maybe it's the mindset, to not to say that guys don't want to be in a relationship and they don't want to be coupled up, but I don't think that's like a major thing. Like, it's not that imperative for them to have that. If I do, I do. But for girls, I think it's almost like I have to, it's security, because girls they need that security. I know when I dated girls, they needed to know that they were secure. What's the face for?
You dated?
We're about to end.
You dated a girl? No.
I did. I dated girls. But no.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and end this, but ageism is it's the fear of growing old, and it's also the fear that people can have of older people. So
of course I have some notes here too.
Okay.
That
let's hear your notes.
So my notes are basically like so anytime we talk on a topic, I want to, we do our research or whatever, and I'm like, what can we do to make it better. And I like the way you started it because you show, and that's what I do like about Alvin. He's very empathetic and always concerned about, how can we help? And he's concerned about, how things affect others. Because some people can be just me. But you don't, self-centered, but you're not like that. And when we talk about these issues, I like the way that you always consider your fellow man, And you're welcome. Yes, I do like that. So one of the things I found out that when it comes to ageism, we need to recognize it, like when it happens. And if you see it, speak about it. If you see it if you see it happening to someone, let them know, like, hey man, we shouldn't, like, I know you gave an example. We were talking, like, some people will say, you look good for 50, or you look good for, it's almost like it's a backhand compliment. Yeah, or whatever. And there's a better way to say that. Like, just say, you look good.
Or, you're my mama's age, or you're my daddy's age.
Right.
But they're dating you.
Right.
They dating you, but
Right.
you my mama's age, you my daddy's age,
Right.
or whatever. Them backhanded comments
Right.
like that.
You didn't say that when we started dating.
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden I'm their age or whatever.
And they ain't saying that when you putting the sex down on them either. So.
Yeah. And then one of the things we need to consider, put yourself in their shoes. Like you do that a lot, and I try to do that too. Would you like to be treated that way when you're older? So you always, because you're, like you said, we all are going to get older,
And hopefully we do.
Yeah, and hopefully we do. So as life goes on, you have to consider, when you see these things happen, would you like to be treated like that? So always do that, and then be inclusive. As far as the people that are getting older, don't ever seclude yourself. Hang around people. Get yourself out there. I mean, there's even dating groups now. What's the one where they do the I think it's called speed dating now. I mean, you don't have to really it could just be a social event. You don't really have to. I will hope that you are attending because you're interested in something, or just some kind of social activity. But now they have the speed dating where you can meet people, whatever, and it might not go anywhere, but at least you're getting out there. You're being inclusive or whatever. There's baseball teams, even gay baseball teams, gay basketball teams. There's gay fraternities. It's so much.
Just get out there and help. I mean, do community service.
Exactly.
You can go to. There's nursing homes. There's retirement villas that you can help out and assist. There's different things going on in the straight and gay community for elderly people or old people who are getting older or whatever, where where you can assist and volunteer, or whatever. And just be inclusive. If you see somebody that's lonely, that you in your mind you may think they lonely, they may not be.
Right.
But sometimes we think shit that ain't
right.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see somebody, just because they're older, don't feel like you can't, be friends with that person and include them in your group, or hang out with them or whatever. Because sometimes they can be a lot older and they have a lot of valuable wisdom, But then they can also be young at heart too, and can, there's people. Most of the people I told you, most of the people that I meet, they have nowhere near the energy, the stamina, the vitality that I have, at my age, and they can be 30 or 40,
right?
And they can, and not that I'm just going out there hanging in the club, because I ain't just doing that, but just the stuff that I can do, even at the gym and stuff, even. I can lift more weights than some of these people out there, and I'm doing more stuff. And, I have the energy to go do that workout with Kelly, and then he's like 30, football, played football and all this type of stuff. I keep up with him, and, and we go at it,
right.
And then just like me, you and my other friends, we'll be out, we're out having fun, and we're doing this and doing that. I know people who can't even keep up with that, and they're in their 20s, 30s, and early 40s, and they tired and want to be on the couch and sleep all the time. Or sitting there playing on their phones, not doing anything else, just doing all of that, and they have nowhere near the energy and the get up and go that I had.
Right.
But then they'll make comments, like, "Are you old as my mother?"
Right.
That type of stuff. So, but Anyway, let's
And
get
then
on.
another thing,
Oh, go ahead,
too.
sir.
No, so yeah, I have a few more. So another thing too, if you have found yourself to be that person that is throwing out those ageism shade or slurs or whatever, um, give yourself a break because sometimes people do it unknowingly.
Right.
Like they don't really mean nothing.
Right.
Because they wouldn't call their grandmother that or say that about their, sometimes they're just in the moment, it's a heated moment, they're in a rush or whatever, and they just say something or whatever. So give yourself a break, but knowing is better. Knowledge is power. You know better,
Right.
so you do better. Then another thing for the people that are, and we did say this already, but that are getting older, just stay active. Like you say, gym memberships. Like my mom and dad, they start going to the gym now. I'm glad to really see my dad go. My mom, she's always been very active or whatever. But my dad, just stay active and engage.
You can find a group or something, find an activity. A group would have activities and stuff. Just get involved. Even sometimes I know it can be fearful, but sometimes just if you can let go some of those fears, and then it may open up some other opportunities and possibilities for you with other people who are aging, or even the younger crowd. We don't. I mean, I consider myself still young, but
yeah, you are.
But I have no qualms about people that are even a lot older than me or younger. So
you can learn from anybody.
You can learn from anybody.
Yeah.
And if you need help, there can be assistance out there for you. It can be difficult sometimes, and maneuvering through all of that. But try to seek some help for your loneliness.
Exactly.
And
exactly. Please.
And get involved. And I know some people can't, but for those that can, and they just have that fear, look up some community services and stuff, gay, lesbian, bi, trans, whatever. Look up some services where they can get you involved or help, some help or whatever. And sometimes it can even be with your finances and stuff, because sometimes your finances and stuff and poverty can play a big role in why you're isolating yourself. Because sometimes older people might, they don't have those finances no more, or they never did, but then they can't afford some of the stuff that these younger ones are out, or some of the ones like us sometimes, what we can afford, they may not can afford that, and they might feel ashamed and don't want to say that, so they exclude themselves from the group because they can't afford or to be in that type, to be around, or whatever. And sometimes you got to let go of those stigmatism too, because we will accept you. Most of us will accept you because we want you to accept us too. And whether you have finances or the ability, or whatever stuff, so.
And then another thing is, even though, and I always feel good when I accomplish things on my own, like it gives me a certain, whatever, like, okay, I did that. So I would say, even as you get older, never lose that. Of course, we need people, and we're going to need assistance. Like if I decide to move right now, I'm not gonna move my house by myself. I'm gonna call friends over or whatever, or movers to say move me. But there's little mountains or little things that you could do daily just to keep that independence that you do have, and that, like, I am useful. So never lose that, because if you can do it in the small things, then that'll give you the strength and the courage and the ability to know, or even think to even do the bigger things or whatever. Because I think a lot of them, as they get older, they feel like, oh, I'm not even useful anymore. And I read somewhere where it says, let your family members know that I'll reach out to you if I need assistance. Because some of them feel like just because you're older, they need to, which is good. It's good that you do have family like that. However, there's some things you can do on your own. Like, I don't always need your help, so keep that. And that keeps you young too. That keeps you feeling younger. Well, because like, oh, I was able to cross the street. I was by myself. I need no help or whatever. And then another thing is just notice how you think and speak about yourself. Because self-talk is, and I'm a big believer in it. Because it starts with you. It starts with how you treat yourself and how you love yourself. And if you down yourself and then I'm just old and I'm just, whatever, you're going to feel, no matter what you say to me, if I already feel like, and I've already talked myself into thinking this way, then no matter what you say, it's going to change the whatever. So, watch that. Watch how you talk and think about yourself. Yeah. And I think that's all that I have. I always want to, give out
a little good point.
Yeah.
Some self-help.
Some little solutions or whatever.
Good.
Yeah. So, yeah. So what are we talking
It's
about
food
next
out of my
week?
teeth.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
And
Super Bowl Sunday.
Huh?
And Super
Yeah, we
Bowl
got a party
Sunday.
to go to on Super Bowl Sunday, so we may do the stream. We may do a video on Saturday, and then we'll post it for Sunday because we won't be around at 6 o'clock to do the actual live next Sunday. So we may do that on Saturday, and it's we're going to be talking about relationships and dating and relationships in the gay, lesbian, black, trans, LMNOP community.
That's always the ending of it.
So we'll be talking about that in our next. It'll probably be a video that we'll upload.
So y'all
for
stay
next week
tuned
because we do have a Super Bowl watch party to go to next week. So So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. Tit for tat.
Like, share, subscribe, leave comments.
Look what I did.
What happened?
It says cooking with Charles and Alvin. I didn't change the.
Down there.
Yeah, I didn't change it to. Oh my God! It doesn't matter because that's what we were doing first. We were cooking. We were. Or whatever.
Well, we're still cooking.
Video,
we're cooking up our thoughts and opinions or whatever.
So anyway,
but yeah, like, share, subscribe, comment. We will have pages, Instagram, Facebook. That's to come or whatever.
We're working on this, and we are, right now we're trying to learn our lighting and our picture quality and our sound,
but we're
and a few other things. But I think this is our third. Is this our third live?
I think it is. Yeah, this is our third one, and we thank you for the faithfuls that keep coming and those that are going to come and are joining us. We enjoy it. We hopefully that you're getting something out of it. It's sparking conversation within your friend group, your community, or what have you, and giving you something to think about, whatever. Because like I was telling Alvin the other day, these topics are really giving me, something to actually think about and be concerned about, and things I never really talked about within my friend group. So yeah, these are helping me. So hopefully they're helping you as well.
So like, comment, share, subscribe, and then you can leave your comments. We'll get back with you. We'll see the comments as they come through, and we'll reply back to you as we see the comments. And thanks for joining us on Tit for Tat,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Have a good night, world.
Good night. Watch the Grammys.
All righty.